One of the most common questions I get at my craft shows about my cutting boards is, do you have anything larger? I've always been limited by the width of my planer, but as of today, that's all going to change. For the first time, I've bought something from Woodpeckers, and I've bought their Rout in Plane jig, and I am going to set it up right now. So when I've made larger boards in the past, I basically had to make two smaller boards and end up gluing them together in the end. So after doing some research, I found the Rout in Plane made by Woodpeckers and decided to give it a go. And on first inspection, all the parts seem very, very rugged, and there's not a lot to do to put it together. So I've built myself a large surfacing jig for doing large tabletops and large live edge slabs, but it's like 5 feet wide by like 8 feet long, and it's very cumbersome. I wanted something that I could use on top of a tabletop for small projects. So putting this jig together is super easy. You have two skis that go on either side. They have slots and tabs from the main part of the jig stick through them, and all you do is put on 2 thumb screws on either side to hold them on. The beauty about this is that there's no guessing as to whether the jig will remain parallel to the table or not. The only other parts that have to be assembled are the 2 brackets that hold on the sacrificial fence. Then the final step is, of course, adding on the sacrificial fence itself, which goes on with 2 wood screws. So the sled on this has 2 ranges depending on what size router you have, and in my case I've got a Porter Cable 7538 3¼ horsepower plunge router, and it is going to require the largest range, so I have to undo all of the screws and move the guide rails out to the larger range. Whenever I do any surfacing, I use a 2-inch surfacing bit. And with a bit that size, you do need one of those big, powerful routers to push it. Another nice feature about this sled is that the guide rails always move in and out parallel to the opening. So there really is no fiddling around to make sure the guide rails stay parallel to each other. As soon as you put your router on and set the width, it is set all the way across. The only thing that's required for you is to make sure that the bit is centered in the slot and then snug down the screws. So I have a teak board that I've glued up to 15 inches, which is 2 inches bigger than my planer, and I'm going to do it now with my Rout in Plane jig. So I found out I had the sacrificial fence on the wrong side. Whenever I've used my large surfacing jig, I always end up having little ridges that have to be sanded out, but not in this case. It is ready to be sliced up and then glued up into a cutting board. So I bought the Rout in Plane XL, which came in at $239 plus shipping. So I am very pleased with the results. I had 2 boards glued up and I did all 4 sides, and I now have it glued up into a cutting board. I will have a video on that coming out, so stay tuned. So that's it for today. Thank you all for watching Brailsford Woodworks. Bye-bye.